Good evening. My name is Dave Severe. I'm posting this YouTube video as a final project to a public speaking course for Colorado Christian University. This particular course was quite possibly the most motivating and influential college class that I've taken thus far in my life. I had a great time in this class. I learned a lot about myself and how to communicate. This was a public speaking course, but communication in general was the key, and I learned a lot about how I approach communication, publicly, professionally, and especially personally, and one-on-one to my loved ones and to my peers. I'm going to talk tonight about the speeches we gave briefly, but really I want to talk about why I think that this is a necessary class for anyone to take, especially at age 30. For me, is I think a great idea for anybody. Any husband, anybody needs to take something like this. It really changes the way you look at yourself and the way you are approaching communication. I'm going to talk about the professor. He did a really good job at motivating us and giving great critiques, positive critiques, and lighthearted, keeping the class lighthearted and fun. Everybody was comfortable and everybody had a great time, and I'm very thankful for that aspect. On the second day of class, we gave an impromptu speech that I thought was going to be easy. I'm not a shy person. I like conversations, but I was not very comfortable the first time I got up in front of these 15 people. I was nervous and shaky, and I rushed through it, and I mumbled, and I just didn't give a very good speech, and so I learned a lot from that. And the professor did calm me down and say, all these things that I thought I was seeing and I thought I was doing wrong. He said, you're fine. You don't. Everybody doesn't see those things. They don't see the sweat on your hands or the shakiness, and so I really gained a lot of confidence from that. I thought that it was worse than it was. And so going into the next speech, I gave a pretty good speech, in my opinion, an informative speech. I'm sorry, an informative speech on the history of ESPN. I did a pretty good job at calming myself down, and I was a lot more confident because of the critiques I had gotten and the positive encouragement that I had gotten the week before. I gave a demonstrative speech on how to merge the following week that didn't go quite as well as the one before. I did revert back to the nervousness and the rushing, and once my breathing started going a little bit more rapid, I definitely had to catch it and didn't do quite as well as I did the week before. But there was things that I did very well. I think that there's always positives in every especially in every speech that we gave. We could take positives because the professor would point them out, and that was the first thing he'd point out, and that was a very effective method in this course, and it made everybody motivated to do a good job and want to do well. The last speech we gave was a persuasive speech, and this is the one that I was excited about. This is the one that everybody, it's the last day of class, and we want to do very well. We got to show what we've learned, and so I put all the critiques and all the ideas that Professor Calhoun had enabled me with through the 5 weeks of class, and I put them into this speech, and I did a pretty good job, and I was proud of myself. But I did rush, and I missed some important things. I missed some things I wanted to say, and I could have done things better. Just like in the merge speech, I had a merge speech. I definitely missed a lot of the information that I thought I was going to put up there, and I rushed through it, and the 7-minute speech all of a sudden was 4 because I didn't calm myself. Excuse me. I could take a break if I needed to and refresh myself. And that's something that I learned and I've used professionally and personally. Just when I get caught up talking and I'll get rambling, I need to just calm myself and say it's okay, and where was I? Calm myself, find my spot, and just keep going. So that was the speeches. The speeches were the big part, but I really want to talk now about the impact that this class had on me. I took a lot from this, and I think that the biggest immediate impact that it had was the way that I communicate with my family, and the way that I communicate with my customers. I'm a self-employed carpenter. I've had a tough go at it in the last 3 years, but and I'm looking to change careers, and so I've been interviewing rapidly for months now, and getting interviews here and there, and I thought I was a pretty good interviewer, and I learned a lot from this class, and a lot of the aspects that I've learned, a lot of the ideas, I went into an interview a few weeks ago and put them all to use, and I really, it was quite possibly the best interview I've ever done, in my opinion. I really felt like I nailed it, and it was a basic job that I was going in for, just a basic construction job, and I ended up getting the foreman job for it, and I was he called me back and said I got the job, and he raved about the interview that I had, and that was such a positive thing for me, through all the stress that we've had in our lives, to go in and do well at communicating right after I took this class, and I owe it all to this class. I always thought I was a decent communicator, but in this particular interview, I did a lot more things than I usually do, and I thought about all the critiques and all the things that I had taken from the public speaking class, and I was very proud of that moment, and very thankful. And so that was one of the biggest impacts that this class had on me. And so I've talked about tonight the speeches that we gave, the professor, and why he was so effective, and why his positive, lighthearted attitude was such a motivator for us. This class had everything to do with the success of me getting this new job that may be the future of us, may not, but it's a start, and it was a job that I got. They called me because I had project management experience, and I'm going to school for that, and it was just such a motivator for this. When you hit roadblocks in school, and I just get flustered, and I don't have the motivation to keep going, and now I have so much more motivation going to the next class, and I'm excited to go to class. I'm excited to just do well and continue my education, and this class was a trampoline and a jumping off starting point for that. I didn't expect it, and I'm not sure the professor really expected it either, but I am quite thankful for the experience I've had over the last 5 weeks. So thank you for listening, and thank you for everything, Professor Calhoun, and I'll see you in the future.